Boy, the amount of times I fangasm to the awesomeness of this show is unimaginable. From the story down to the soundtrack, thus it's hard for me to be critical over this series, which is why you all must be so puzzled as to why Kuroko is taking this spot. Well, as I've read the manga, I pretty much know very well about what's up ahead. Second season is building for what is to come for when the Winter Cup begins, as we've just been watching the preliminaries for now. Don't get me wrong, I like the matches so far and the backstory on Kiyoshi, but Kuroko's No Basketball's potential is still untapped till we'll all see that highly anticipated first match of the Winter Cup. So all in all, as Kuroko no Basket will indeed become a massive hit this year.
4.
Seki-kun was a series that I was not aware of at all whatsoever, till the seasonal chart came out and the plot itself reeled me in and led me to marathoning Seki-kun. As for Seki-kun Nidaime, it gave me that feel and vibe of a new generation. The animation done by Production IG was superbly executed well in creating that new atmosphere into this generation of Seki-kun. We also had some characters from the previous seasons to come in and ease the new cast into the show. However, I felt that there wasn't really enough of a strong focus on the new guys joining the Seki-kun club, as this show only really focused on the one new character and Madarama to wrap up what was left of the previous generation of Seki-kun. As an overall, the show did conclude pretty much everyone's story of the Seki-kun club to move the current Seki-kun club into this new generation that's dominated by women.
3. Love it or hate it, Orimo was one of those shows I reluctantly tried when I was sick a few years back. It was one of those shows that gave me quite an interesting insight to how the otaku culture is perceived in Japan. And then you got the so-called unforgivable incest that was developing gradually in the show, as mentioned on the box of this series. When the second season arrived, characters had a lot more depth to them than the first season. And heck, we got the confessions of every girl in Kyosuke's harem that was built up. Then to wrap it up, the special left us with that relief of a conclusion which quite a lot of people couldn't wrap around their head. Therefore, the show really did go all out with its second season, held nothing back and went balls deep, which is what I really loved about the show. It just moved forward instead of standing still and not leaving many what ifs, as there generally is for like a second season for most seasonal shows that we see nowadays. 2.
I absolutely adored Haganai from the first season. It was love at first sight. The character chemistry works so well with one and another, especially Yozora and Sena's rivalry of trying to get back at each other. As for the second season, the story didn't develop as much as I wanted to at the first half of the season. However, once the second half came around, the characters had matured a lot more and established the obvious of what the neighbor club turned out to be at the end of the day. We were also introduced to a couple of new characters, which was great and all. However, I wanted more involvement from the new characters, but since the introduction was pretty late into the series, there wasn't really much the characters really had to offer for the series itself. Last but not least, that cliffhanger was so delightful, especially as a harem series itself. It was one of the best things that's been executed, as most shows I feel don't often push the main character to actually decide who to pick in this harem that they've inevitably created that revolves around them in your general harem series.
1.
Monogatari is the #1 anime for me personally. It was so great to see the story going back to its old roots, where they spontaneously flash paragraphs of text at your face within the time span of 5 frames, making the show almost interactive if you want every ounce of the information that's dumped on you. The non-linear story to this season in particular was a great change of pace, as things are left to you, the viewer, to piece everything together as the show progresses, which was an interesting turnaround instead of being spoon-fed every little thing. Then just when you
thought we all had the characters figured out. We still get a much richer understanding to the development of all the characters, especially as Senjo Gahara always keeps a cool head in the series. However, this time around in Monogatari's second season, we actually do see her actually worry and shed a tear. But the show did annoy me at some points where we would get a recap for the whole of Nisa Monogatari, Neko Monogatari, and Baka Monogatari to prevent new people from getting lost. It also came as to quite a surprise how often Kanbaru would crop up in conversation, and yet her existence was pretty much gone for the whole of Monogatari second season, which is quite a bummer as well, as there was hardly any Karen as well. Or was it just too much for everyone with that controversial scene? You know, the one I'm talking about. This was indeed quite a tough list to compose for 2013, as there were a lot of anime sequels this time around, like Hajime no Ippo, Railgun S, Hakkenden, High School DxD, and the biggest eye candy of this year goes to Infinite Stratos 2, which didn't fail at all to give me a boner at the very least. Okay, let's move on. So to wrap this up, what is your favorite anime sequel of 2013? And what anime sequel are you anticipating most this year, 2014? And I swear to God, I will not kill you if you put Sword Art Online, because I am actually looking forward to that shit.
You could like and share this video, as it would be more than helpful than what you could possibly imagine. I would really appreciate that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Laters.